All right. Since I'm at home quarantining with COVID, I thought I would give you a few more example problems since I'm not going to be in class with you today. So, what I'm going to do is just pick up right where the video left off. So, in the video, you went through problem 6, all right, on page 29. So, what I'm going to do is just go through a handful more problems from you, just picking up with problem 7, just so you can continue to see, all right, how everything we've done so far kind of fits in. Now, this is one thing that I've talked to a lot of you about, like not skipping steps, and you're going to see why this is important right as we do the lesson today. So I'm going to go ahead and go right to number 7 here. All right, so we have an exponential, right? And so we're looking for one solution when we have an exponential. Now, 4 to what power gives me 64? So I need to know how many 4s am I multiplying to get to 64. So I know 4 to the first power is just 4. All right, 4 squared would be 4 times 4, which is 16. All right, and then 4 to the third would be 4 times 4 times 4, which is in fact, all right, 64. So I know the answer here is just going to be 3. And then I'm done. Now, here's what we're working on today, right? Sometimes we have more than just x in that exponent. So if I look at number 8 here, all right, this is really the same problem as number 7 here, right? Except for, let me do this with my other hand here. All right, I still have 4 to what power equals 64. Well, that math fact isn't changing. It was 3, and it will be 3 just like it was in problem 7. But notice here it would just be x equals 3. But notice when I take my thumb away here, it's x plus 6 equals 3. And that's what this lesson is about, right? We have to now do more work, all right, if it's more than just x, all right, in the exponent in those grouping symbols. Now, some of you might know this fact, right? What plus 6 is 3? If you don't, remember, always get it equal to 0, all right, if it's addition or subtraction. So I can subtract 3 from both sides. I get x plus 3 equals 0, all right, and now I can use my 0 property, right? What plus 3 is 0? X equals negative 3. And remember, I could plug this in to make sure it's true, right? So if I plug negative 3 in for x here, I have 4, and then be negative 3 plus 6 equals 64. And if I simplify that, I get 4 to the third power is equal to 64. And then you could check that on your calculator, and that would be 64 equals 64. So remember, you always have a failsafe, right? You take that value, plug it back in, see if it's true or false. Now, number 9, same thing, right? So if I cover this up, it's still 4 to the third power is going to be 64. That math fact isn't changing. What's changing is what is equal to 3. This time, it's 2x is equal to 3. So 2 times what is 3? All right, and once again, all right, this would be 1.5. So do that math fact. Now, if I didn't know that math fact right, we talked about this a little bit in class, right? I could divide by 2, right? And 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. Okay, all right, so moving on, let's talk about a few other things. Okay, so now let's move down to number 10. Now, once again, now I have an absolute value problem. Now I'm going to cover this up, and I'm going to ask myself, what number has an absolute value of negative 4? And then the answer is none, right? We've talked about this, right? Absolute value can't equal to a negative number. So in this case, I don't have to do any more work. This is no solution. All right, now I go to number 11. All right, what squared equals negative 36, right? And then once again, nothing, right? Because we said if I square something, it will always be positive, right? We said something squared can never equal to negative. So this would be no solution. All right, and then I go to number 12. All right, it's 3 to what power gives me negative 27? Now, we think about this, right? So this was absolute value. This was quadratic. This was, or is, an exponential. And if it's exponential, what it's saying is I'm only multiplying positive 3's. Well, if I'm only multiplying positive 3's, I can never get to a negative number. So this, in fact, would also be a no solution. So those rules for no solution still apply, right? So once we get to this step, right, when I'm asking myself what number is or has an absolute value of negative 4, doesn't work. What number squared, right, gives me negative number, doesn't work, right? Okay, so you just go through those same things. Same thing when we get to exponential. All right, let's do a few more problems here. So let's flip the page, go to page 30, all right, and let's just go through, all right, a few more problems here. So like if we look at number 13, okay? Now, once again, very simple problem here. All right, absolute value of x is equal to 4. So what numbers have an absolute value of 4? Well, it could be 4. It could be negative 4. And I'm done because there's only an x in here. X could be 4. X could be negative 4. So now I go to 14. Now notice, the math fact doesn't change here. What numbers have an absolute value of 4? It's still these two numbers, right? It's still 4 and negative 4. But notice what's equal to 4 and negative 4. It's 2x. So 2x could be negative 4 or positive 4. And it doesn't really matter what order you write it in. So now I had to just do this. Right now it's multiplication. I just do that fact, right? 2 times what is 4? 2 times 2 is 4. All right, 2 times what is negative 4? 2 times negative 2 is 4. All right, and there you go. All right, so, all right, all that's changing is what is inside those grouping symbols, right? So these are all absolute value problems, right? All three of these. And they all have the same math fact. Right now I cover this up, right? Once again, what numbers have an absolute value of 4? It's still 4 and negative 4. But notice what's equal to that is changing. It's what's inside that is changing, right? So now 5 minus x is equal to 4, right? Or 5 minus x is equal to negative 4. All right. Now, once again, if you know this fact, all right, 5 minus what equals 4, you can just do it. If not, remember that you can always, right, get it equal to 0. All right. Maybe. Let me get this into focus for you. I thought that was going to get it in focus for you. There we go. So notice I can subtract 4 from both sides. Right, so 1 minus x is equal to 0. 1 minus what is 0? 1 minus 1 is 0. All right, I could add 4. All right, 9 minus x is equal to 0. 9 minus what is 0? 9 minus 9 is 0. All right, and then notice if I go back and plug this in, right, 5 minus 1 is 4. The absolute value of 4 is 4. If I go back and plug 9 in, I get 5 minus 9. That gives me the absolute value of negative 4. The absolute value of negative 4 is 4. So remember, you can always get your answers, go back and plug them in. All right, so now let's take a look at number 16. Now, all three of these, right, are quadratics, right? We see that power of 2. All right. Okay, now notice on 16 here, what number square is 49? Okay, well that would be 7 times 7 or negative 7 times negative 7. So there are my two solutions, right? X equals 7, x equals negative 7. Done. Now, when I get to 17, right, I cover this up, and I'm still asking myself, what number squared is 49? And the answer is 7 and negative 7. What's changing, though, is what is equal to 7. All right, so x minus 7 is equal to 7, or x minus 7 could be equal to negative 7. So that's what changes for us. Sorry, I keep going in and out of focus here. All right, there we go. Now, once again, if you don't know that fact, get it equal to 0, right? So minus 7 minus 7. So x minus 14 is equal to 0. And then 14 minus 14 is 0. Add 7, add 7. And this time I get x equals 0. Well, there's my answer. All right, 0 minus 7 is negative 7. All right, keep going here. Number 18. All right, once again, same question, right? What squared is 49? 7 squared is 49. Negative 7 squared is 49. But what's changing is what is equal to that fact. 7x could be 7. 7x could equal to negative 7. And then remember, if we have multiplication, we just try to answer that fact, right? With addition or subtraction, we can use the 0 property. With multiplication or division, we just try to answer that fact. 7 times what is 7? And that answer would be 1. 7 times what is negative 7? That answer would be negative 1. All right, let's finish up by doing our last three problems here, which are all exponentials, right? So all three of these are exponential. Now, once again, if I cover this up, right? 5 to what power? 5 to what power is 25? Well, that answer is 2. 5 squared is 25. So x equals 2, right? 5 times 5 is 25. Okay, now going to number 20, right? It's still the same answer here, right? 5 to what power is 25? It's still 5 to the second power. But notice what's equal to 2 this time. It's x plus 2. So now, I've got addition and subtraction. I'm going to use that 0 property. All right, so negative 2, subtract 2 from both sides. And that gives me x equals 0. And that makes sense. 0 plus 2 is 2. So there's my answer. All right, now, going to my last problem here. All right, 5 to what power is 25? It's still 2. But notice now it's negative x. Negative x is equal to 2. Now remember, when we have this negative out front, that's really negative 1 times x is 2. So negative 1 times what is 2? and that would be -2, right? Or you can think about it as an opposite, right? The opposite of what is 2? The opposite of -2 is 2. So you can think of that negative as a -1 or as opposite. All right, so that wraps up what I would have normally done in class with you today. So what you want to do now is flip to the next page and complete, all right, the independent practice for today. And then hopefully I will see you guys in class tomorrow. All right, take care.